Okay. So now your list.
Yeah.
Okay. So you start out with your honorable mentions. Whoever you start out with first, it's on you. Go ahead.
Well, first on my honorable mentions is Patrick Mahomes. 8-0 in the league right now. It honestly, he wasn't the first name I wrote down on there, but it kind of felt like a crime, even though his stats are not great.
They are not. They're less than 2,000 yards. Is he? Did
he's close, and I'm not gonna lie. There's other players on my list that aren't at the 2,000 mark either.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you went that route. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fine. But the fact that he is 8-0 is what landed him an honorable mention spot. He's playing still. He's playing football. He's doing what Patrick Mahomes does. He's just doing it in I can't even say the worst way because he's still winning. The stats aren't assisting him all that much.
Yeah.
But he hasn't lost a game yet, and their schedule from this point on is looking easier than it has been all year. So they might go 17-0 this year, and I might spend many nights in my bed crying myself to sleep because of it. But nonetheless, he's tied for second with interceptions, and everything else aside from his record isn't super admirable.
Absolutely,
and they are winning all these games, but the Chiefs, they still look beatable.
They are a flawed team still.
Yeah. So it's not that it's all dominance like it has.
They traded for DeAndre Hopkins for a reason.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're playing a lot of close games, and I think it'll catch up with them eventually. They won't go 17-0. Yeah,
I hope
so.
But yeah, there's my first one.
And they damn sure not going undefeated because they catch Detroit in the Super Bowl. Detroit gonna put a whooping on their ass.
Oh yeah,
I promise you that.
It's gonna be work. That's a team. We'll get to Detroit later.
Yeah, but my take on this for you is, I think honorable mention is a place where guys that have thrown for less than 2,000 yards but are on an undefeated team go. He's not great, but he's leading his team to wins. And he's been great in the past. So he could be honorable mention. I give you that. So good. I'm with it.
My number 2, we actually saw him before. Or not number 2, but my number 4, Baker Mayfield.
Which is your second honorable mention selection.
Yes. Yeah. We talked about him earlier on your side of the list.
Yes, sir.
He's playing great, man, and he just needs some more wins. And look, if he makes playoffs, say they go on a run.
Yeah, which they could.
He doesn't lose any more games. They make the playoffs. He won't have Mike Evans back until at the earliest week 12. Lost his second best wide receiver for the remainder of the year. Their third best receiver is out right now. I don't know how long that's going to be. He didn't play the last game, might not play the next. I think he'll have a very strong argument for MVP. I mean, a lot of people thought that Baker on that team was just Mike Evans. It was Chris Godwin. He has 2 of the best wide receivers in the league. He doesn't have that anymore. And yes, he's lost the last 2 games, but he's played fantastic in both of those games. Even in the game they lost to Baltimore, where those 2 players went out, he played fantastic in that game.
Yep.
He's playing great football. Baker Mayfield is showing y'all I was deserving of being a first-round pick because he is. That's what I'm looking at right here.
Absolutely.
The stats are fantastic. I didn't think he was leading the league until I looked it up tonight. In touchdowns, it is.
Right.
And you can be second in interceptions when you're first in touchdowns and second in pass yards.
Absolutely. So it doesn't look nearly as bad.
No, not at all. With how even earlier on in the year, I was like, the offense is so high powered. But even myself too, I thought that was really because of the weapons he had. He doesn't have those weapons now, and the offense looks the same. So maybe it's a Baker Mayfield thing and not a wide receiver thing.
Right.
That's how I feel about that.
Okay.
Now my number 3.
No. Now we're moving on to your top 3 NFL MVP candidates at the Week 9 point. Who's number 3?
My number 3. It might turn some heads. My number 3 is Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels. Everybody.
All you have to do is prove it. Like, go for it. Why is he number 3?
Last year, I was a big campaigner for CJ Stroud to be the MVP in the league. I don't know why it is that so many people are so against rookie quarterbacks being an MVP on their first year. I don't know if that's something that's ever happened before, but I think it could have last year, and it can this year. Jaden Daniels. Now, MVP as an award, I think that most commonly it's like most valuable player in the league, right? Not just for your specific team.
Yep.
Which I didn't look. A lot was going on today. I didn't think about that initially when I was making my list.
Yep.
But he is the MVP on his team, and he's going to be, if not first, because the Lions are doing insane right now. If not first, second seed in the NFC in his first year, and he's playing fantastic football against fantastic football teams.
Right.
He has 2 losses against probably the most legitimate teams he's played, but I mean, he still played great in those losses nonetheless. And yeah, you can't necessarily win from losing, but you kind of can when you're a rookie quarterback in the league. This is your first year. His stats, again, like we said for Patrick Mahomes, stats aren't looking great, but Patrick Mahomes has the 8. His stats aren't looking great, and he doesn't have the 8, but this is his first year here. He hasn't been here like Patrick Mahomes has been here. He hasn't experienced. Go ahead. And
he has the 7 though.
He does have 7. He does have 7.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I could be glazing a little bit. I could just be a little starstruck a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he has a case. And I mean, you look at the odds, and he's up there in the top 7 in the odds. So,
and he's also a dual threat quarterback. Yeah. So you would want to add his rushing yardage to his passing yardage total, and his rushing touchdowns to his passing touchdown, and then see the whole picture, and it looks a lot better.
Right?
It looks a lot better. You know?
And he's only turned the ball over, I mean, fumble-wise, 2 times, so 4 turnovers in general. It's great. I'm loving watching Jaden Daniels play every week. I watch him and I'm like, this could be an MVP player, just like when I watched CJ Stroud last year.
So total yards, he's at about 2,300 yards, and total touchdowns 13 with 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. That is an MVP candidate when you also package it with a 7-2 record.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And a Hail Mary completion.
Yeah. I love him. I'm loving it. And if he keeps playing the way he keeps playing, the way he's been playing,
he can move on up, or be even more, or can even more legitimize himself.
Yeah.
You know.
And again, like, I don't understand what everyone's problem is with putting a rookie quarterback in that conversation. People just don't want to do it. Like,
people don't do it because they generally aren't good enough.
But when they are, and it's so in front of your face that they are that good, like, why are you still afraid? I don't understand. Maybe it's because I'm a relatively newer football fan, but I just don't get it.
So a lot of it is so let's say as a rookie, he only has 9 games. Like, he hasn't done it before, so like, people's expectations or lack of previous knowledge on a person plays a part in it. You know, like,
That's fair.
He's only 9 games in. Like he could hit a rookie wall,
He could.
And it's just people playing better than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Derrick Henry, like everybody on my side, they just playing better than him. It's just the way it is, man. He's number 3 on your board, but on my board, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, everybody just, he'll be like 7 or 8 on my board.
I hear you. I just think he's deserving of it. I do. And
no, you don't. Or you put in 1. He's deserving.
I'm saying he's deserving of being where he is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's deserving of being 3 because yes, Baker does have the prettier looking stats, but Baker's also 4 and 5. And yes, is Baker playing
exactly
great in all those games? Yeah, he is, but he's still 4 and 5 at the end of the day. You said it before we started. You can't win from losing. So
he can't win for losing. Exactly. That's Baker.
But that's my 3. Your opinions? Got anything else you'd like to share on it?
No, I said what I got to say. Like he's legitimate to me, even as a rookie. I think he's legitimate top 5 MVP candidate right now. Number 2, who you got?
Oh, over on the AFC side, we got Josh Allen.
Yes, sir. He's barely over 2,000 yards.
Just barely. But
so I feel like Josh Allen was rolling at one point. At one point, did I have him as the number 1 dual threat quarterback? Yeah, I did. I had Josh Allen number 1. And then he started losing and regressing, and then I was like, well, that looked like he's not doing so well now. But and now you look at his stats, he's back in the top 5 conversation for MVP.
Building himself back up, Yeah,
he came in back up.
He came in on fire. And then he took 2 losses to Baltimore and Houston, which are 2. It's okay to lose to those teams because those are 2 phenomenal football teams.
Right.
And then he's on a 4-game winning streak since then. And he's thrown for over 200 yards in all of those games, over 300 yards in one of them against Tennessee. I guess it's not too hard to do that against Tennessee, but still, nonetheless, Josh Allen's playing great football. Man, I did expect his rushing stats to be a little higher. I was kind of surprised to see so little rushing yards.
Right.
I guess when you're just slinging that thing so much, you kind of don't need it. I don't know why he isn't running as much as he has before, or at least even on short yardage like goal line plays.
It feels like he's not rushing, but he doesn't have as many rushing touchdowns or yards. Absolutely.
But again, doesn't need them because again, like the rest of these teams, or all of the teams in my top 3 at least, he's 7-2. He's honestly, can I be honest?
Is there?
I was gonna change him out last minute. But I didn't, and now that I'm talking about him, I kind of wish I did. I'm gonna stick through, but if y'all see a little bit of doubt in my eyes, that's why.
Hey.
So I'm like, maybe I should have swapped. But again, it was close. It was kind of hard for me to pin this list down. I only had like 2 people in my brain that I knew for sure were going to be on the list.
Oh, okay.
And my resentment for my AFC North counterparts is what left them off the list. But they did come into my brain. But it's kind of the same things that I'd say for them. They're playing phenomenal football, great football. He's only thrown 2 interceptions, like so many others. You'd expect him to have more yards by now, I guess. He seems like he's throwing a lot.
9 games, only 2,000 yards for Josh Allen. That seems pretty low.
A little lower than you'd like it to be. Maybe that's a wide receiver court issue.
I could say that definitely. He's missing Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, he wants his boy back.
Yeah, so that's a big miss.
But
Absolutely.
nonetheless, 7-2.
Dalton Kincaid is also not getting the ball very much.
No.
He's on my fantasy team, and
Oh yeah.
I'm starting Brock Bowers over him, and Bowers is killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Kincaid not getting a whole lot of run from Buffalo. So. I don't know who else he's throwing to, but I expected Kincaid to be more part of the offense.
No.
Yeah. Right, so that's number 2 for you.
That's number 2 for me. I know I didn't provide the most convincing case for him just now. I kind of midway through talking about it was like, ooh.
Hey man, we all make mistakes, but
that's okay.
It is what it is. Yeah, once you get on the banner, you gotta roll with the punches, man.
You gotta roll with it, I know. But I'm steadfast in my number 1.
Yeah.
I'm strong in my number 1.
And your number 1 is
Jared Goff, baby. Head of the best team in football right now. Best team in football, not the best team in the NFC.
And yet he doesn't even have 1,900 yards passing. Talk to me.
Remember when we went going over Jared Goff's perfect game? First quarterback to ever have a perfect game, mind you. 18-18.
Yep.
And I said, does this performance today, or not today, but does this performance put him immediately in the conversation for MVP? You're like, I definitely could do. I think so.
Yeah. I
think so too. I think it did then, and I think his performances since then have only solidified his place there even more.
I agree. His last game, he started it out 11 for 11. I mean, the boy is accurate.
And he ended it 18 for 22. He only missed 4.
Yeah.
In the game before that, when they had 52 on Tennessee, he only missed 3. Granted, he only threw 15 times, but he only missed 3 of those 15 throws.
Yeah.
And he still threw 3 touchdowns. How do you go 12 for 15 for only 85 yards and still throw 3 touchdowns?
I've seen stuff like that in college, but never in the pros.
Never in the NFL.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff is doing it. And Jared Goff went to the Lions and everyone thought that was over. He was going to the Lions to roll over and die. The Rams gave up on him. Sean McVay gave up on him. Those fans gave up on him. Detroit did not want him. They were like, oh man, why couldn't we have went somewhere else like this? And he revitalized.
Oh yeah, they did not want to lose Matt Stafford.
No, they did not. Yeah. He revitalized his team. Him and Dan Campbell did things for this team that we did not think would be done for a long time. Did things to this team that I thought Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski was going to do for my team. Okay? I feel for a Lions fan. And I'm here standing with my Lions fan brethren say they have the best quarterback in the league right now. The stats, 1840 pass yards, leads the league in completion percentage. And you should if you got an 18-18 game. Only 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. You look at those and you're like, it's probably the worst ones on my list so far. I think. Patrick.
I just got a thought. So, what if? So when he started the game out 11 for 11, do you think they should have just stopped throwing the ball, or took him out of the game?
No, not at all.
No, so he'd be the only quarterback with 2 perfect games. You know what I'm saying? I mean that's some history right there.
The second one would be on a technicality though, because it's like he didn't throw the whole game out.
No, technicality, smecknicality. It happened.
Yeah, that's fair, but that's like bringing a backup in. They throw 1 pass, complete it, and then they don't come back in.
No, that's like throwing 11 passes.
That's fair. I get you. But no, they left him in, and even then, he still only missed 4.
Right.
They finished with the
damn receivers should have caught. You know, I heard another stat. Let me get this right. Like, he's throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, is it the stat was something like they they haven't had an incompletion.
Oh, so like Amon-Ra has caught every ball thrown to him
Yeah.
by Jared?
Yes. It was like a crazy stat like that.
How many other receivers got a stat like that with their quarterback? Greatest receivers in the league. Does Justin Jefferson have a stat like that with Sam Darnold?
No, you can't. He can't because.
Does CeeDee Lamb have a stat like that with Dak? No, of course he doesn't. Come on. Does Lamar Chase have a stat like that with Joe Burrow? Does Zay Flowers have a stat like that with Lamar Jackson? And these are all fantastic receivers.
Yes.
Some receivers, some you'd say are better than Amon-Ra. Some people would.
Yeah, some people would.
Quarterbacks that people would say are better than Jared Goff.
They would be mistaken, but they would. They might.
Quarterbacks that they would say are better than Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is playing the best football in the league right now.
Yes,